All right, here it is. The one and only Trump and Theo Vaughn. I can't believe the madman did it, dude. Crazy. All right, let's take a watch.
But your thing is going really great. My son's a big fan of yours, Baron.
Really, Baron is?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
He
Baron.
just graduated
No way, dude. Baron's a fan of Theo Vaughn. I mean, to be fair, Theo's a pretty likable guy, but that's still pretty cool.
high school, right?
That's right. He just did. He knows you very well. He said, "Dad, he's big.
Wow.
Yeah, big one."
That's cool.
So that's good.
What,
Well, that's where it is nowadays, right?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I can't believe that we're able to get platforms. And I started in my kitchen, and then, it's evolved out of there.
That's fantastic.
I mean, it's pretty unbelievable. What does Baron play?
Do you want to start? You go ahead.
Yeah, we're good. Are we rolling?
Yeah, sure.
We're good? Yeah, does Baron play sports or anything?
He does. He plays golf and different sports, soccer. Loves soccer. Very good at soccer. He's a good athlete, Baron.
Yeah? Is he going to go, has he already picked a college or no?
He has, and he's getting set to go in the fall. Good college, a very good one. And he was always a very good student. He's smart guy.
Which one of your kids, what's something you admire about each one of your sons?
No, he's gonna pick favorites. We already know that Trump Jr. is his favorite. I mean, let's be honest. It's in his name. But I'd like to see what he has to say about his other sons.
Well, Don is a hunter. He's a great, great hunter and knows everything about that world and guns. And
Yeah, of course he knows about that. It's a big Republican guy, and there are four guns. I would not be surprised.
all. He was the first one that said, "Dad, boy, you got lucky," because I didn't realize that 130 yards is actually very close in that parlance. And he said, "You got lucky." He knew immediately when he saw that. He said, "It's incredible," because that's considered a pretty close distance.
From how far the shooter was?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the guy wasn't a bad shooter, supposedly. He was a very disturbed guy, but he wasn't a bad shooter. And Eric, likewise, he loves the business. He loves real estate. Also very much of a hunter and understands a lot of things about that. They were so...
Oh, it seems like Eric is getting some of more of the praise. He's a good hunter and a businessman, where Trump Jr. is just a hunter. Interesting.
sort of as young guys, they were with their grandfather, and he would take them hunting in Czechoslovakia, and somehow they developed very well. And
Czechoslovakia,
yeah,
damn.
can you imagine?
It's a lot of letters even.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's a name you don't hear too much anymore, but it was...
I'd need a scope just to get through the spelling of that word.
that's
I
right.
think,
A lot of people.
Good Theo, man. He always has the best one-liners. Fucking scope to see all the words. That's funny as shit.
Yeah.
But so he'd go, they'd spend time in Europe and they'd do that. That's where he learned a lot about both of them, really good.
With your dad, they would go?
No, grandfather, actually. They had a grandfather who was a wonderful outdoorsman and athlete. And during the summer, he'd take them out into the woods and they'd go hunting and lots of things, and they loved it. They got to love it. And that's Don and that's Eric.
Yeah, they're funny.
Oh, yeah.
They have a good sense of humor, too. Like, whenever I see them at UFC, it's like...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I just, the first time I was nervous, I think, and then after that...
It's hard to believe that, well, one, these guys are interviewing in the first place, but second of all, I think it's interesting that they're already having a better interview than 90% of the interviews that Trump has with people. To be fair, it's more skewed in his favor. They're not asking him crazy questions, but I still think it's interesting that someone like Theo, he's not involved in politics that much. He can do an interview with Trump and it's still pretty chill. That's what a world we live in.
When I've seen them, it's fun to kind of cut up with them a little bit.
Yeah, well, they're good guys, and they really they get along great with the rest of the family. We all get along great. We have a good family, but I love you. I see you talk about a great guy. How about Dana White?
Yeah.
The job he does, right?
Yeah, I want to thank Dana too for helping get us set up together. Yeah, he makes it happen.
Dana helped him out. That's pretty cool. Good for Dana, dude. He does a lot of good stuff. Good guy. UFC, that's pretty entertaining. So I'd say he's doing pretty good. We love Dana.
I like Dana. He doesn't waste words. He doesn't waste time. He likes to, I think, be efficient.
Doesn't waste time unless it's gambling. He is a chronically addicted gambler. And I think that's probably the only bad thing about him, but um, I guess he doesn't waste time any other place, so that's pretty good.
And he has seems like a strong sense of integrity for himself.
Yeah, nobody like him, actually. It's, there's an expression that everybody is replaceable. Not Dana.
Yeah.
Nobody could do what he does, and he's made that sport into a big monster sport.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and we go there and we enjoy it, go with him. Sometimes we do walk-ons with Dana, and place sort of likes it.
Him and Joe, because I feel like Dana's not as known as Joe, but Joe's podcast and everything, the people he interviews, all of that, like, is definitely a main factor in how big the UFC got, because Joe's a big public figure, and when they see him and Dana like doing that stuff together, I think it's pretty cool. They're both pretty big in that area.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, but
There's
Dana,
a video
yeah,
of us. I was in behind you in one video. I'm sure the dogs here will pull it up. But yeah, those are some of my favorite. Those are some of my favorite things ever. UFC became my favorite.
Hold up. Yo, what is Theo wearing? Let's get well first. All right. You see, he's got what are these? Cowboy boots? I don't even know. He's got the cowboy boots, jeans, a suit, and
Sport during the
I just
pandemic.
what the what is this shirt? He's got like a t-shirt underneath the suit, and he's got no tie, no pocket square.
right?
Dana was
Oh
brave enough
my!
to stay open.
It's only
He was
Theo,
it.
bro.
He was the whole ball game.
Only
He was the
Theo.
only sport, and he'd open up in arenas with nothing other than very good fighters.
Yeah.
And they would be fighting. He had some of the best fights during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But he
it
would
was
do that.
exceptional. There it is right there. See, look.
Oh,
there
yeah.
you are, and I'm right behind you there.
Oh,
Clapping
wow,
with the hat on
yeah.
the white guy in
Wow.
there.
Oh,
great.
good Theo,
That's right.
man.
The white guy in the hat is right. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of us there, but I was one of them for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's me right
Good
there.
sport, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, I'm a Dustin Poirier fan.
There he is. There he is. Trump salute. Hold
One
up.
of them for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, see, that's me right
Good
there.
sport, isn't it?
There he
huh?
goes. There he goes. Iconic as always.
I'm a Dustin Poirier fan, so
Oh, he's great. He
I
was,
know.
boy, I tell you, he's a warrior. That last fight he had, whether you like it or not, he is a warrior.
yeah. It felt like he didn't get the victory, but it didn't feel like he lost.
No, he didn't lose that fight. He really, the man he was fighting was tough. He was tough and didn't expect that same fight. But he oftentimes will. He makes people suffer. There's no question about it. No, he's a pro. He's a professional.
Yeah, he's all heart. He's from Louisiana. That's where I'm from.
As that fight went along, he just got stronger and stronger, and he was getting pounded, and he was going to be choked out about 4 different times, and he just wouldn't let it happen. No, you say hello to him. He's good.
Yeah, I'll make sure to.
He's a really great fighter. There
And he
he
cooks
is.
Thanksgiving dinner every year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to go sometime.
He's
huh?
Fucking goat, dude. Look how
Great
much.
fighter there.
And
Hold
he cooks
on.
Thanksgiving.
Yo, he cooked all of this. What a fucking goat, dude. That shit looks good too. It's not even no crappy stuff. That's hella food. My man.
Dinner every year.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Maybe
Good
I'll have
fighter,
to go
good cook.
sometime, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean
He
he
must do good food.
he does. Yeah, he does some good stuff over there. Yeah, what was the first? Do you remember like the first fight that you ever went to, whether it was UFC or boxing or anything?
Yeah, I do. It was Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali in Madison Square Garden many, many years ago. And I think that was the first fight I went to. I always liked the boxing.
Holy
old
shit,
were
it's
you,
even
remember?
in black
boy,
and
I
white,
don't know, You
bro.
can deduct it from what
God
I am now, but it was a
damn.
long time ago. But they were 2 undefeated fighters. They were both undefeated. Muhammad became a friend of mine. So did Joe, Jolton Joe. He was They were two great fighters. That fight was incredible. I think they had like many heart attacks that night, literally heart attacks in Madison Square Garden. I think it was.
Oh my god, dude. They're causing heart attacks now? Oh, Trump loves to embellish.
Madison Square Garden. And the fight was so unbelievable. Two undefeated heavyweight champions of the world. There was no UFC and there was no competition really. It was it.
Yeah.
And so you had the two guys. Remember that Muhammad wasn't allowed to fight because of lots of different things. And he was a terrific guy. Both terrific guys, very
And they
different.
finally made it happen. They finally
And
made
they
that
made
bout
it happen. So
happen.
you had two undefeated heavyweight champions fighting.
And who took you to the fight? You remember?
I went with my father and my brother Robert. And it was just, I don't know, I must have been very young. It was a long time ago, but you would never forget it. That was one of those moments.
Oh, yeah.
But no, literally, there were like many heart attacks in the arena.
Just people having too much fun, or what do
No,
you
there
think? It was
just
drugs?
Oh, boy.
heart attacks because it was such a crazy event.
Oh, yeah.
It was so, the people were just, I know a friend of mine, the father, he had a bad heart attack. Literally, they took him out. They were taking people out.
It's an early
It was,
KO.
and I don't hear that anymore. I mean, there were other exciting sporting events. I don't think there's ever been.
Dude, there's so many jokes that Theo, or one-liners that Theo says, and it just goes over everybody's head. It's like, it kind of makes me sad, but at the same time, it's like, makes you feel happy that at least I got it. Oh my god, dude, his one-liners are the best.
I don't know. I guess that has, but you would think Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, their first fight. Yeah. But it was a very exciting time.
Well, yeah, and just people being, I guess, see, yeah, sometimes our systems aren't ready to handle the amount of excitement that's going on, you know? Like, I think, like, yeah, maybe people just couldn't even handle so much joy. You think it was that, people were just so excited.
They had heart attacks. I mean, they just had, I guess they do it, maybe Super Bowls or something.
Oh,
People were literally dropping like flies because this fight was that amazing. Huh.
people have heart attacks eating a thick soup, you know? So it's like, I'm not surprised that something so awesome like that would make your heart be like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, but I never hear of it, you know, and I'm sure it happens. Just that one. But we had an exciting event the other night with Elon Musk and me.
I listened.
We had
Oh, I haven't seen this yet. We'll have to watch that after. I haven't seen Elon Musk and Trump. That'll be interesting.
a pretty big audience for that one, I can tell you.
Yeah, I listened for probably about like 20 minutes. I thought it was cool. It was. I think the tough part was just like just like it would have been neat if you guys could have been in the same spot, you know. But I still thought it was exceptional.
I heard the audio was great, and actually they put out a clear tape of it because they had clear tape.
Oh, nice.
They had so many millions and millions of people watching, like record numbers of people. And I'm trying to figure out, we're on a cell phone, or I was, and, you know, that's a lot of people coming into a cell phone one way or the other.
Yeah.
But I heard some people had a problem with the audio. I don't know. I don't do that thing. You know, that was done. And we had a great conversation. It was for 2 hours and 15 minutes. They just put out a clear tape of it, a perfect tape of it. But yeah, I think I sounded, somebody said your voice was distorted or something. And you know, I guess it happens. Look, it was such a big thing, such a big audience, but I would have loved to have seen the clear tape originally. They put it out right after the show, so now it's a clear tape where a perfect tape done there.
Yeah.
But when it goes through different phone systems and everything else, you think if we were together, that doesn't happen then? Because I think his voice was more clear than mine.
Maybe because he was the one who was like initiating the call. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about how all that works. But yeah, I know that in post a lot of times they can tighten things up and make it better. You know, it's amazing how Elon, like, the cost to really have your own voice in the world is $44 billion, basically.
Yeah. Well,
if you want to have your voice, like, you know what I'm saying? He has his own channel.
And he does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic guy. And he's a brilliant person. And the country should be very proud of him, actually. I have Truth, which has been very successful.
True Social, you mean?
True Social, yeah. And that's been very successful in getting my voice out. Well, I needed a voice.
Yeah, I mean, he's been on every other platform. I guess he kind of has to go with Truth if he wants somewhere to use his voice and have his thoughts and opinions. Uh, Controversial as it is, I think everyone should have a voice as long as it's not promoting anything illegal or hateful, like towards a certain group, racism, homophobia. So I mean, hey man, good for him.
Because I was on Twitter and I was on Instagram. I was on all of it, and I was on Facebook. And when you added it up, I was told by Zuckerberg and others it was like record-setting type of numbers. And then
He had Zuckerberg on speed dial just to tell him how good the phone call went.
one day I didn't have anything because they canceled. I mean, they canceled.
And there's such a collusion there, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty bad thing, and so I had nothing. So after about a month, I have a lot of things to say, and after about a month, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just go out and put out an old public relations statement. You remember that? And although you're a little young to see it, but in the old days, you'd put out a statement, and I did, and it was just gobbled up. It was really gobbled up, and I opened Truth, and Truth has become terrific, actually, for
Good
me.
platform.
I really want just as a platform. I mean, it's more important than anything else. And
Well, at least
and
you
that's
have your
been-
voice then. You can say
Well,
what
it
you
gave
want to
me
say.
my voice back. Yeah. I had hundreds of millions of people. Even now, I haven't been too active on X, but I have, I guess,
It's hard for platforms like YouTube or like Instagram or anything from like whatever. It's hard for them to have people like Trump on there because he's so controversial, and I don't think it would be as much of a problem as if they didn't have to worry about investors or like sponsors or whatever. But their income depends on it, so I see why they got rid of him. But like at the same time, it gets rid of his free speech, which kind of sucks. Even if you don't agree with him, whether you do or you don't, I think everyone should have a voice in at least in that matter.
90 some odd million people on it. But I was much higher than that when I was
It's like
actually
almost all
on
the
it.
people. I don't even know how many people there are.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, but I love the job he's done, and he's brought a certain
Fucking
voice back
Theo, man.
into play.
Yeah.
The previous people were terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
Every time you do a thing, you'd be red flagged. They'd put
Oh,
up
yeah,
a red
there's
flag.
every-
Every
yeah.
statement you made, you'd be red flagged.
Yeah, it's almost like, it's like when you have a babysitter and they don't want to have any fun or whatever.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of the vibe I got. When you, because I see you at the fights. I see you, sometimes you'll sit right by Dana, and sometimes I'll sit, like me, I'll go with like David Spade sometimes as a close
that's
friend of
good.
mine.
Good.
And I'll see you coming with Kid Rock, and and you don't drink at the fights. You
By the
don't.
way, Kid Rock is he's terrific. He came to the convention. He knocked everybody out. He was fantastic. He's a great guy. He's just a great guy. He's popular, very popular.
Oh, he's definitely a real dirt serpent too, dude. He's a freaking legend,
No,
He's a legend.
He is a legend,
Yeah.
I guess, in a true sense.
Oh, 100%.
Theo
People
always
love him,
has
dude. Look
the
at him. I went to his show not
craziest
long
terms
ago
for people.
somewhere. And,
Crazy terms.
People, I think some guy had a heart attack there too, but it was like, it was more funnel cake related, I think, type of vibes.
He draws big crowds, actually. It's amazing. I saw one. He was out someplace recently at 80,000 people. He's big stuff, but he's really, forget about that. I call him Bob, his name Bob, right? It's Bob, Kid Rock, but it's Bob. But he's a really good guy. And
Yeah, I've been over to his house
he's
a
a cool
bunch.
cat, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Cool
I'm like
cat.
a natural. Right when I got into town, he hit me up one night and was like, "Hey man, I'm having a birthday party this week, and you should come." And I didn't even know him, and it was
Right.
nice of him. And since then, we've done a lot of fun stuff together. His brother's missing a leg too,
Yeah,
which
his
is crazy.
brother's-
He looks like the lamp. Have you ever seen that movie, The Lamp, like from like a Christmas Story or whatever?
Yeah,
Bro, I thought he was gonna say the lamp from Pixar, like hopping up and down on the letters and stuff. Oh my god, that would have been really funny.
Yeah.
but he's fantastic. The family, the father, I knew very well. He just passed away, and it was a tough.
Oh,
one
you knew his
for-
dad?
for the brother. I did, and he was fantastic. I
Yeah.
got to know him through knowing Bob, and I tell you what, it's just a fantastic family. The whole family.
No, I love Bob. He and I joke around together a lot. We've spent a lot of time together. Look at his brother right there.
That's right.
Dude hits
And you know what? He
dingers,
plays
too.
golf, and he plays well.
Oh
He
my
had a perfect
god.
drive with me. I said, "Do you play?"
That guy's nasty, dude. One leg. Hold up. Thundercats? Yeah, bro. Look at that thing. He's got fucking huge ass calves. Holy. I mean, I know why, but like, holy
We're
shit,
in the
dude.
17th hole. I
The
said, "Do
guy's
you
a
play?"
beast.
He goes, "Yes." I said, "Oh, really? Do you want to hit a shot?" And he said, "Okay." And he got up. Well, it was very hard for him to put the. I mean, it was really a tough situation because he has to get the ball in the ground and the tee
Yeah.
and everything else. Nobody did it for him, and he did it. I mean, he goes to the ground and he did it. Gets up. He swung, and I'm a good golfer. He had a perfect shot out to the right with a little hook. Nobody knows what that means in your audience, probably, but that's like a perfect shot.
Yo, he just called Theo's audience poor. He either called them poor or not white. That's what I'm saying.
And I said, "That is perfect." He said, "I'll do it again." I said, "Don't do it again because you'll never be able to hit a shot that good." And it was really amazing. He's great.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and Bob
And he'll
really,
do it again too.
they
He's a
love the
repeat
family.
offender. Yeah, they're
they
great.
really have an amazing family.
Oh
They
no,
love the
Bob's
family.
great. I've been to parties at his house. You know, one thing that's really nice about him is I'll go do something with him, and then like a few days later, he'll send a nice note, or he'll send like a photo, like a frame photo,
Not
and just say,
surprised.
"Hey, man, I had a nice time."
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed at the events you don't drink, and you don't drink or smoke, right?
I don't drink or smoke. No,
You never have.
no I never have. I had a great brother who taught me a lesson. Don't drink. Don't drink. And he said, don't smoke. He smoked and he drank, and he was a great guy. He was handsome, very handsome.
If there is anything you can take away from Trump, even if you don't like him, this would be the advice. Do not drink or smoke. Probably just get advice in general from anybody.
Guy.
Is he older?
Just
He was
saying.
Older,
older.
quite a bit older, yeah. And he had a problem with alcohol and smoke a lot. But I tell people no drugs, no drinking, no cigarettes.
Yeah.
I tell that to my kids all the time. I'd say no drugs, no drinking, no smoke. And
That was tough.
he'd always tell me, he'd say never. So he was, really.
I'm curious to see. I feel like Trump's kids definitely have done drugs. I feel like Trump has too, but I don't know. It's just all speculation.
Old enough that you would look up to somebody, and I'd look up to him anyway.
Did you
But
admire him?
yeah, I admired so much about him. He had so much going. He had the look. He
What
had
was his name?
unbelievable personality, like an incredible personality.
What was his name, Donald?
His name was Fred Trump, and he had a problem with alcohol. He got addicted to it because they say alcohol is tougher than drugs to get off of. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I do not agree with this. I 100% think that if I had a beer versus if I shot up some heroin, dude, like, there's absolutely no comparison. I'm definitely going to be addicted to heroin and maybe not so much to the beer. Like, there's a reason why people don't try heroin. It's because it's really fucking addictive. And I think Trump is just wrong on this, dude. I think he might be hyping it up a little too much.
Yeah, I'm in recovery. Actually, I've been in recovery. So like most of the last 10 years
From alcohol?
from drugs and alcohol.
So
Drugs
which is worse?
for me, drugs is the problem. But if I have a drink, then it's tougher for me to prevent myself from getting.
It sets off a chain.
Yeah.
But which is harder to quit? I've heard alcohol is harder to quit than drugs, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean I can only imagine because it's probably more readily available.
More readily, well, and it's social, and
Bro, he's stretching it. He's trying to push it too much. There's actually no way anybody's gonna agree. Like, bro, if I swear 99.99% of people, if they just did some heroin versus drink, obviously everyone's gonna pick the heroin. Like, there's absolutely no comparison. Also, don't do this. Like, there's no need to try it, but like, theoretically, I mean, obviously no one's getting addicted to the alcohol over heroin. it's just not even it's not even close, dude.
You're sitting and everyone's drinking and all.
Yeah,
'Cause
rarely
nowadays
do you go to a
everyone's taking
dinner and
drugs.
everybody's eating like, Xanaxes or something, for
Yeah, right.
appetizers. Usually people are having like a mint julep or something a little fancier, Negroni I just learned about.
Right.
But yeah,
So you have a problem with that then?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
it's been in my family. My family, it's like, yeah. it's tough.
Can you stay away from it?
Yeah, I've done a good job. I mean,
So how long have you been off?
I go to recovery meetings. I've been off most recently a little over 2 years.
Do you ever go back on?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I've had stints where I go back on and
And you don't control it?
it's tough. It goes downhill
No
pretty quick.
kidding. So
You think it's going to be
you
easy.
think you're controlling it?
And then you're damn,
Boy,
you're
that's
doing
tough.
your go-kart and racing with
The only
hookers
way
and
you
stuff.
can
It gets
do is
bad.
just not to do it, right?
Right. So then in the end, you're like, I have to not do it. Did you see, like, with your brother, could you see it or anything? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I
that's
was
a bummer.
amazed because he had so much going, he had everything going. I think it happened in college at a fraternity maybe, or I don't know, somewhere along the line it happened. And all of a sudden, this is not unique. This is a very common story, unfortunately. But and then the family would see it and start to notice it. And it didn't get better. It didn't get better. I was amazed. He lived for so long in bad conditions, in terms of, I was amazed that his body could hold out. It held out and it had bad moments. But his body was unbelievably strong that it could withstand this.
Yeah, it's a body. Your body's just so resilient.
Yeah.
Do you remember the last time that you saw him or spent with him?
I do. And
I'm sorry to ask you about it. Is that all right?
No, it's, the reason it's good talking about it is it might help other people. If it helps one other person, it's worth the conversation. Frankly.
We talk about that stuff a lot on our podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of our audience struggles or has struggled with alcoholism, addiction, intimacy disorders, all types of stuff. So it's like
You got the old guys with
kind of normal
the
conversation, but
erectile dysfunction.
The interesting thing is
Watching Theo Vaughn on a Tuesday.
So I never had a cigarette, and I've never had a glass of alcohol. And my brother was incredible. He would tell me, because he knew he had a problem, and he'd say, don't ever drink, don't ever smoke. He'd always add smoking, because he did smoke a lot, which is, not very healthy. But he'd say, don't ever drink, don't ever drink. He'd tell me every time. I said, don't ever drink, because he knew he had this addiction. And I never had a glass of alcohol. Never, ever did I have a glass of alcohol because of him. And I would say that if I did drink, I could, conceivably be the type of personality that would have, like you, that would have a problem.
How does he know that, though? Like, what else is Trump addicted to that he would know that? Closeted drug addict? Oh, maybe not a closeted drug addict, but I feel like he's probably had a drink before and he probably liked it, you know what I mean? Well, I don't know, Trump.
But I never had, and the only thing I say to people is, if it's too late for the people that you're talking about, but if you don't drink, you don't miss it. I mean, I don't even think about alcohol or
right. It's not a part of your world.
I don't think about cigarettes. I don't think about any of that. If you don't take drugs or if you don't have alcohol, it's real easy not to drink it. It's when I had a friend who.
This is totally true, by the way. He brings up a good point. If you never try any of that, I mean, you're not going to have a problem staying away from it. Even, like, if you get peer pressured or anything like that. Like, that's probably going to be the biggest thing that would make you want to drink. If you have never tried it and you don't get peer pressure, I guarantee that 80%, maybe 90% of people wouldn't even try it. Especially if it wasn't advertised or, like, made out to be such a good thing. Like, I feel like we over glorify drinking, not so much smoking unless it's marijuana, but I feel like with drinking we tend to over glorify the experience, and you know what? I don't think that's good for anybody, but people like it, so they talk good about it. But if that wasn't a factor, and then trying it wasn't, I think, like, most people would probably stay away from it, especially since a lot of it tastes like shit, dude. Like, if you took the alcohol out of it, I think most people would not drink it because it tastes like shit, dude. So, I don't know, he brings up a good point.
Went to the Wharton School of Finance with me. He was a very smart guy.
Where is it, Wharton School?
That's in Philadelphia. That's at
Oh,
Penn.
yeah. Rocky.
Right. And it's a great school, great business school. And it's part of the University of Pennsylvania, the business school. At
Oh,
the
it's nice
university.
down there.
Yeah.
My friend's brother went there or something.
Well,
We ate near there
then he
once.
was smart because it's a great school.
At,
And but this person that I met, he hated the taste of Scotch. Hated it. Couldn't.
There you
stand
go.
it, but he
There you
insisted
go.
on having it because he felt it was important to
What
be
the
able
hell?
to drink. I said, no, just don't drink. He said, you know,
There you
to be
go.
successful in business, you have to sort of interact and you have to drink. And I said, don't do it. Anyway, he became an unbelievable alcoholic, uncontrollable alcoholic.
Unbelievable.
And he died.
Best.
Yeah, and he died. He was but he hated the taste of Scotch,
And he still
and then
did
he
it.
couldn't live without it.
Wow.
Literally.
Well, I think I noticed a lot of like in the recovery.
Well, it
rooms
looks
and
like
stuff,
he
it's a
couldn't
lot
live
of
with it
people that
either.
they're missing something inside of them, and so
Could be.
they take on like so they want to try and fill it up with something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the last time that you spent with your brother?
I do, and he'd have periods where he'd get sick, very sick, and we thought we'd lose him or we lost him. Then he'd get better, and that happened 5 or 6 times. I mean, where you thought you lost him, and then he got better, and it was amazing. I mean, he was, certainly very strong in that sense, and I just tell people it's so tragic. Don't drink. Just don't drink.
Yeah.
And you're not going to have a problem. Like even you, if you didn't drink, you would never, but you probably, maybe you wouldn't be successful like you are. It's part of your story, right?
It's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't know what would happen. Probably. I think it's just
Yeah, bro. I think drugs didn't, directly help Theo. Of course, like it was bad, but he definitely. I think he learned from it, and he was able to turn it into a good thing. Like obviously, drugs aren't good, but there's a silver lining to everything, and I think that really helped Theo. So I'm glad he could change his life around. He's been sober for 2 years. That's pretty good. Good for Theo, bro. Good for Theo. He's a funny guy too. Good guy.
It is risky.
what's something that you miss about him, or like that? Like what's something that you miss about him, Fred?
Well, he was wise in a sense. I mean, think of it. He's got this problem, and it was very important for him to convey to me not to have this problem. And I couldn't have been successful if I had that problem.
Yeah.
If I had that problem, and I think maybe I'm a personality type where I could have had the problem if I drank. But if you don't drink, you're never going to have it. I mean, I don't miss when I see somebody light up a cigarette and just they're in heaven. I don't miss that at all.
It's weird. It's so It's very Native American too.
Isn't it
sometimes.
crazy?
Bizarre. And I think sometimes our older brothers, they kind of like they take the speed bumps for us, like as younger brothers, so that we don't have to. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I
like my
think
brother
it's
went through a lot of stuff so that I didn't have to go through it, and then I get to see him and learn.
Is he okay now?
Yeah, he's doing great now. But it's like, yeah, that's one of the blessings I think of having an older brother is
I think, yeah, this is good. Like, especially if you have older friends as well. Like, I'm the oldest in my family, and I definitely took some speed bumps for sure, for my sister. But yeah, I think I learned from like my older friends around me too. I had a lot of older friends growing up, and I think I learned a lot from them. So, learn from the people around you. Don't have to endure the stupidity, that other people already did. Learn from that.
Well, you can learn through history too, even if it's not a brother, it's by
There
watching
you go.
other people. I mean, you can see if you have a friend who's an alcoholic, or even just by reading about people, you can learn.
oh yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a brother, but in this case, it was very personal. It was a brother, and I learned not to drink, and I learned not to smoke cigarettes. Now, I don't know that I would have smoked cigarettes. I probably would have drank. I think, there's no reason not to drink, but I had a reason because he told me, just
That was it.
don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was kind of a blessing then, huh?
Yeah.
And where did you guys
It's interesting because I know Trump talked about addiction. Like I don't think heroin or I don't think alcohol is more addictive than heroin. However, I do know that alcohol is the deadliest drug in the world. And that's the truth. Like statistically it is the deadliest drug in the world. So, you know, he's wrong about one thing, but like he does definitely have a point. It's good not to drink.
guys ever do anything fun together? Like one nice memory that you have with him?
He had a great talent for flying. He was a pilot,
Oh, sweet.
and he loved it. And
Did
he,
you ever fly with him?
I did. I flew with him. He was a great pilot and a very talented. Other pilots would come to his house to study with him.
Watch him fly.
And he was really talented but ultimately he had to give that because of the alcohol. He had to give that up, which was a hard thing for him to do, but he had to give that up.
Election Day is coming up on November 5th. And there's
We'll watch
this
the
really cool
sponsor.
website,
Theo's got good videos. I'll watch the
sendthevote.com,
sponsor.
that makes it easy to register to vote. It's nonpartisan.
Actually, while he's
which
doing
means
this,
they don't care who you're voting
I'll go get some
for.
water.
They just want to make sure you can vote. Head over to sendthevote.com. They'll help you sign up, register, and even check if you're good to go. I'll drop a link in the podcast description. Let's all get out there and cast our votes this November. Again, that is sendthevote.com. sendthevote.com. AI might be the most important new computer technology ever. It's storming every industry, and literally billions of dollars are being invested. So buckle up. The problem is that AI needs a lot of speed and processing power. So how do you compete with costs spiraling out of control? Well, it's time to upgrade to the next generation on the cloud. Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or OCI. OCI is a single platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs. OCI has 4 to 8 times the bandwidth of other clouds, offers one consistent price instead of variable regional pricing, and of course, nobody does data better than Oracle. So now you can train your AI models at twice the speed and less than half the cost of other clouds. If you want to do more and spend less, like Uber, 8 times 8, and Databricks Mosaic, take a free test drive of OCI at oracle.com/Theo. That's oracle.com/Theo. ORACLE.com/Theo. Yeah, it's crazy. That's the wildest thing to watch is people losing everything, you know?
Yeah, no, they lose everything, and many, many people. And in those days, it wasn't drugs. It wasn't like don't drink, don't take drugs. I don't think drugs, I don't even know whether they're even a factor. They happened pretty long time ago, but I think in those days, I don't think were drugs a factor. You go back 25 years ago.
Not like it is now.
Well, certainly not like now. And
And that actually takes me into something else I wanted to.
No. I think this is wrong, bro. Drugs are just different. Like, I think marijuana was big back then because it didn't get banned until Nixon, but marijuana was definitely big back then, and I think cocaine was definitely more prominent because it wasn't known to be as bad. Well, people didn't know it was bad like they did now. So, and I think drinking was probably still a problem, but like a lot of the hard stuff we didn't know about, like fentanyl definitely wasn't a problem back then. I don't think it's such a big problem now. Our opioid epidemic as well. It's just it's a different problem.
Talk
Go
about
ahead.
like alcoholism and addiction is something that's really ramped up, even like you're saying, like in the past 20,
Right.
30 years in our country, right? And during the opioid epidemic, they estimate that like almost 600,000 people died.
Yeah.
And that doesn't even include the broken hearts and the deaths of families and circles of trust, all, you know, just people that lost a brother. Doesn't even include the actual, the siblings,
Right.
you know? And so the ripple effect of that is huge. And there's that Sackler family that pretty much got away with it. You know, they had a financial slap on the wrist, but we're one of the only countries that allows
Yeah, it's disgusting.
drug advertisements and
Big pharma?
pharmaceutical companies
Yeah,
to
dude.
advertise on television.
Big pharma is like
what do you think?
pretty much
are
everything.
things that you can do to help curtail that when you get into office.
So, well, we did a great job. We had,
Does that make sense or not?
yes,
that question?
it does make sense. And
Dude, we have advertisements for drugs. That's crazy to me that you can just advertise stuff like that. It really goes to show that if you have the money to advertise for something, it will be advertised. Like it it doesn't matter the ethics of it. It will be advertised no matter what, legal or not. It just depends on how you go about it. But yeah, they pretty much have power over like a lot of stuff, and I'm pretty sure like I don't know if Trump is, but like they give money to politicians, probably Trump to be honest, but yeah, definitely a lot of politicians.
We had committees, blue ribbon committees.
And also, I'm pretty sure they've worked with the cartel before too, which is even worse. So we have them pumping out drugs to us legally, legally, and then we have them pumping drugs into our system via the cartels and stuff too. So it's like a dual impact, whatever.
In certain cases, but committees that would meet.
Big two for one.
The big problem we have is, fentanyl is probably the biggest. Opioid is bad. Opioid is bad too.
Yeah.
I think that's bad because everyone thinks, in many cases, they think they're going to do away with pain. And literally the time is so short. If you take it for like 2 weeks, you're almost addicted to it. It's incredible when you.
Oh, well, the whole
Probably
all of that
less.
is horrible. But why do we allow
How
that
did you
to?
get addicted? How did?
No, I would just do cocaine. That was really yeah. So not just yeah.
That's
And it was
down and dirty, right?
yeah. And this is yeah. This I mean it was yeah.
But you don't anymore.
No, I don't do it anymore, man. And I'm not doing
Is
it.
it too much? Too much to handle?
Some of the stuff started to get a real rattle in it too. I don't know where we were even getting it from in this country, but yeah, it started to make me feel like I was a mechanic or
So
something.
the thing you go back to then is alcohol for the most.
Wait, what? What is Theo saying? A mechanic? What is this guy going on about? I don't even know what the hell that means.
Part.
Right, yeah, but what I want probably is cocaine, but I know that if I have a drink, then it'll like, be like, okay, well, I had a drink, then I can do this.
Is cocaine a stronger
Oh, yeah.
up?
Yeah. Cocaine will make
So you're way up with cocaine more than anything else you can think of.
cocaine will turn you into a damn owl, homie. You know what I'm saying? You'll be out on your own porch, and you'll be your own street lamp. You're freaking,
And is that a good feeling? Well,
No,
it's a miserable feeling.
but you do it anyway, just like the guy you're saying with the scotch. Like you knew it was bad, but you still.
So it's not even good during what would be normally the good time. In other words, oh wow. So why would you do it?
I wouldn't. That's why I don't.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But it's crazy because that's what alcoholism is. I think it's that.
I think it's now because, like, the first time you try it, it's like really, 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 really good, and then you're chasing that high forever. And obviously, like now, Theo's done it so much that it's probably not even good. So it's like he just keeps chasing. It's just whatever it is, dragon, imaginary dragon, whatever, chasing the dragon. Is that what they call it? Chasing the dragon. Yeah.
That it trumps the why.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and it just, you don't, and you just go to. It's like,
And eventually, like, yeah, he doesn't think about it. Like, it's just a habit now that he just does. Like, if you pick up your phone to look up a message or like, you start making habits, and that one happens to be a really bad one. So, yeah, that makes sense.
so that's why they say that it's cunning, baffling, and powerful. That's what they say about alcoholism.
yeah.
And it is. It's
Which is a bigger problem in our country, would you say?
opioids.
Bigger than alcohol.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one.
I love how he's still trying to push alcohol, and it is definitely because he doesn't drink. Like he's trying to paint himself to be like I don't do the most addictive drugs, but I love how he's still pushing. That's so funny to
One of
me.
the biggest problems.
And compare that to fentanyl.
Oh yeah, well that's the problem is people are making fake opioids because they can't afford real ones, or they're just getting them off the street and then they put fentanyl in them.
Yeah. Fentanyl's like laced into everything now. It's horrible.
It's horrible. Yeah, they found some in a baby rattle somewhere. I think I don't even know where that was.
That baby's
But
getting
one of the things
smacked.
wanted to ask you about was like, so there's like the big pharma lobbyists. Like there's 1,800 big pharma lobbyists in Washington D.C.
Right.
There's only 535 total representatives or senators total. So just the fact that there's this whole other almost drug government that's there kind of pushing pushing agendas and influencing things. Like, how do we stop that, man? It just seems like it's obviously killing people. Like, people are dying, It's like, what do we have to do that our own government won't help us?
Well, you have to stop listening to lobbyists. I was not a big person for lobbyists.
Bro, he's dodged this question so many times, and now he's just repeating what Theo said. It's like, just dodge the lobbyist. Like, bro, that's not helping at all. He's just saying what Theo said and avoiding the question altogether. I think this is why I think he's co-conspirating with them. Just my opinion.
And if they have even a little access to like a president or a senator or a congressman or woman,
they're snakes.
They get a lot of money.
Yeah.
And in some cases, they just take the money. They don't do anything. But you have a lot of lobbyists in Washington pushing, and certainly a lot for all of the things that we're talking about, including winning. Alcohol.
The lobbyists are winning, it feels like.
Yeah, they're winning. They're making a lot of money, absolutely.
Can you stop that? Can a president stop that? Like, how do we stop that?
Well, one way you could stop it is to say, if you're going to go into government, you can never be a lobbyist. In many cases, they have rules and regulations where you can't do it for 4 years, 3 years.
What is a lobbyist? Because I actually don't know what that is. Is that how you say it? Spell it? That promotes, advocates, or influences opposing. Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of a general, ambiguous term.
Be a lobbyist after you were
it'd be hard to ban, bro.
You're saying?
You could say that if you're an elected official or if you work in government, you can never be a lobbyist. You have people that work in government and they give out contracts to the military, and then they leave and they work for the people that they're giving out contracts to.
That's exactly what happened with the Sackler family, with the drug companies. They hired people that were on the FDA to work for them so they could loophole the laws.
Yeah.
But can we outlaw lobbyists, or we can't do that?
Well, there's a whole constitutional thing there. I mean, can you make somebody never ever go into the business if you work for government, and especially if you're giving out contracts? In other words, you're a powerful person within some industry, the Navy, the Army, anything. It could be military procurement, etc. There's a whole thing there's a whole question as to you give out a contract, and then all of a sudden you're working for the person you gave out the contract to, or the company that you gave out the contract to.
Right. It's like you're playing both sides of the net.
Well, it's obviously a problem, and it's a big problem, and we were doing things about
I feel like Trump's definitely doing this for big oil and stuff. I know he's big into oil, so I would not be surprised if he's doing this stuff
about it. But then we had to get down to other business. We had to solve we had a lot of problems with this country. A lot of problems.
It's pretty clear that the establishment doesn't like you, I would say. What do you think?
Well, I think the people like me.
Oh, yeah, the people.
We're leading now in all the polls. We're leading, and Rasmussen just came out a little while. Rasmussen's a very highly regarded poller. We're leading by 5 points. Rasmussen poll.
Jeez.
And others also.
That is crazy, dude. Oh, my God. If that's accurate and it's not skewed at all, that is crazy.
But I think the people like me a lot. We
agree.
won, and then we did.
No doubt.
So we won in 2016, and then we did much better in 2020. Much better. Got millions and millions more votes. And
why does the establishment keep trying to sing?
Notice how he didn't say he won because he said it was rigged, but he didn't say he won and it was rigged. He just said that we did much better.
Thank you. What is it that they are so afraid of?
Well, in some cases, the things we're talking about right now, they want to sell product that I'm not interested in. They want to have certain boats and certain chips and certain planes and certain everything bought. Pharma is another one that's, interesting.
Or do they push back against you think?
Yeah, I think they do. Well, Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that they do. In one way, that's a positive thing politically because when you can show that they push back, the voters seem to like it. But we have
Absolutely
a lot
right.
of popularity. We have a lot of people that want to see me come back and win because we had a great time. We had the greatest economy in history when I was president. We had
Oh yeah, my cousin got a
job
boat
numbers. Yeah, we had the best
during
job
that.
numbers. African American, Hispanic American. If you look, Asian American job numbers, women, men, everybody. We did a lot of good things. We cut taxes more than anybody else, including Ronald Reagan. We cut regulations, which
By the way, I don't know if any of this is true. He could just speaking out of his ass. I know he likes to do that a lot. So just take everything he says with a grain of salt.
created jobs. We had a great period of time, and I think the people want it back. Based on what I'm seeing, the people want it back.
One thing that you did recently, we had Bernie Sanders on,
Right.
and
Interesting.
I know
That's very interesting.
certainly you guys don't agree on a lot of things, but I think you
That's crazy. He can have Bernie Sanders and Trump on. I think that's amazing. Good for Theo, bro. True interviewer.
both acknowledge how horribly rigged the healthcare system is against the American people. Because hospitals and insurance companies get away with hiding their prices from all of us, and literally they can charge whatever they want. You know, it's like you sign.
Oh yeah. Dude, it should not cost like $150 for a glass of orange juice. Like that's wild that hospitals can charge that. And they do it because of the insurance companies. They'll lowball them and whatever, but um that is like, dude, you should not have to pay that much for hospital bills. And it's okay if you have insurance, like the prices are gonna be regular. But if you don't have insurance, then you're fucked, dude. You're absolutely fucked. And I don't know if this is true. I heard this, and I think it might be, but I'm not an attorney, so this is not legal advice. But I'm pretty sure with medical debt, you can literally just blow it off, bro. Like you don't have to pay it. Like they can call you, but like nothing's gonna happen to you. I'm pretty sure they just send it to debt collectors, and most of the time, debt collectors won't even go after you for it. And I think you can also like make a minimum payment on it and just like keep carrot on a sticking it. I don't know. I've heard that. I'm not sure if it's true, but I think that's really funny to me that you could just owe like half a mil and you don't have to pay it off. You can just, oh, fuck you. You know, I don't want to pay it. No. Someone could tell me if that's true or not. Any lawyers or attorneys?
Up and say, yes, I'll pay. You trust the hospital, but then you get home and the bill is, it's whatever, you know, which pretty much feels like some form of extortion to me. That's what it seems like to me.
It's a form. Yeah.
But you had an executive order where you created a federal rule forcing hospitals and insurers to publish all their prices.
Yep.
Right, so that people would be able to know, okay, if an MRI costs $600
Totally should do
here
that.
and it's
Totally should do
$5,000
that.
there, then I can go here and save myself money.
Right.
But that hasn't even been enforced. Like hospitals,
Biden got away with it.
hospitals and insurance companies, they're still not showing their prices.
They hated it,
Of course they did.
and because it would have made it very competitive. And Biden let it go. He never enforced it, and to get that approved was a big deal, and that would have brought down the price of
Oh, so many things.
not only just care, right? Care, physical care, mental care. That would have brought down the cost of care by 50-60%. And Biden and Kamala didn't press it. It was a big thing to get it, but I'll be pressing it. And because I'll be pressing it, yeah.
If he's not lying, dude, that would be awesome. Like, all right, well, obviously he might be lying because he does lie a lot. But, dude, if Trump did that, that would be so good for our economy and for the people because honestly, like it's getting out of hand, especially with so much inflation and stuff. Anyways, like you're gonna be paying so much in hospital bills. It's like not even worth going to the hospital, even if you need treatment. Like you're just gonna be paying it off for the rest of your life. So I know if he gets in office, I really hope he sticks with that because that would be pretty cool.
And because I'll be pressing it, there are some people that are vehemently against it for financial reasons, for money reasons. But
Those
I'll be
people can
pressing
go to hell, dude. That's insane.
Yeah.
We'll look back in a year or two if he gets in office, and we'll see.
I know
You know,
there's bad people.
especially because one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. I mean,
Well,
that's crazy.
pretty
And I don't even
crazy.
think I made that up either.
No, it's when you think of it. At first, when you say it, I said,
He doesn't even know if it's true. He's just saying it. Of course. Only
"Wow,"
Theo,
and then
bro.
I'm thinking about it. I'm saying it's really not a wow. It's I understand it.
Yeah.
Tremendous lobby, tremendous powerful lobby.
Well, yeah, because I mean, think about what else is going to put you in medical, like in that much of a debt. It's like, I believe that that's accurate. Who's behind the healthcare insurance, that whole thing? Like, who's behind it all? It feels like Chuck Schumer is this kind of like deviant mastermind back there somewhere.
Well, he's one of the people that is hurt, and he's one of the people that keeps the prices high, and he's gets a lot of contributions from the people on the other side. Yeah, and him and plenty of other people, a lot of people. It's a very powerful lobby.
But wouldn't they? Why
You know
do
the
they
most
want
powerful
people?
lobby, the lawyer lobby.
That's the.
And that feeds into that also. It all feeds into it.
Wait, hold on, just so I understand, Donald. Sorry. So that lobby is a very powerful one.
Yeah.
But why do those people want people to suffer though? Just so they can make money?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they want them to suffer at all. I just don't think they care. I think they're completely indifferent about it. They just want to make a bag. That's what it comes down to. Just greed and money. I mean, obviously, if they could do it without hurting people, I think they would. I don't think they like it, but I also don't think they dislike it. So, well,
That's
Actually,
crazy.
yeah. It really has to do with money.
That's
It's,
crazy. How much money do
They
they
probably
need?
start
Can't we
off by
just
saying
give
this
them?
is terrible, and then they eventually say, "Well,"
But
and
can
they-
we just, as a country, say, "Hey, how much? Okay, you need $3 million. We'll give you that. Fuck off.
yeah,
We want to be healthy."
yeah.
Like, can't we make a deal with those people?
They're very tough to deal with, and they've been taken care of by drug companies and others for years. You have politicians that have been for years being taken care of by people that make.
it's the attorneys and or the lawyers and big pharma, apparently, according to Trump.
A lot of money, and they want to keep making a lot of money. And it is, I mean, in that case, it's not a power thing, it's a money thing.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
What are some of the other lobbies that are out there that we don't even know about?
Well, the most powerful lobby is the lawyer lobby, I would say. The teachers' lobby is important or powerful.
Teachers?
Sometimes really to the detriment of everybody. But the most powerful.
Hold on, what? What are teachers doing? Nothing? I feel like they're not doing anything. I feel like they definitely don't get paid enough either to deal with the stuff that they deal with. I mean, they're literally like bringing up our next generation. What's wrong with them? I don't think I agree with this.
Lobby is probably the lawyers. Who would think that, right? But they have, that's why if you wanted to.
I mean, he didn't even answer the question. He said what other types, and just responded with the lawyers
get
again.
rid of court cases and cut down litigation costs, which in this country is out of control. Loser
It's
pays.
crazy.
What you do is you go loser pays. In other
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I think if you lose, dude, you should be paying for the other side's like legal fees and stuff. Totally, I think you should do that because then you can't just sue somebody for the hell of it. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely think that should be the case.
words, the loser of a lawsuit has to pay for the other side, has to pay back all the money the other side spent.
You think that would solve it?
Yeah, it would get rid of
Actually, well, that could put a lot of poor people that can't afford a lawyer into debt. So maybe not actually. That I think the way we have it now is actually better. Now that I think about it, because some people have some really good lawyers, and if you have to pay for them, then that's obviously going to be horrible for you. And sometimes it's unfair too. Like some people, even if they're in the right, they can't afford a good lawyer. So, that actually would be pretty shitty. So I think it should be the way that it is now.
75, 80% of the litigation. We are a very litigious country.
It's on everything's under. It's all bureaucratic. It's all dirty paperwork. It's a bunch of rigmarole.
Well, if that would happen, you'd get rid of a lot of it. But the lawyers are opposed to it. It probably will not happen, no matter what, because obviously the lawyers want to.
What would have to happen? The Supreme Court would have to vote on something to make it happen.
I don't know. I think that it maybe would have to go before the Supreme Court. But the most powerful lobby is that lobby, and if you wanted to get rid of litigation, if you went and Europe has it. A lot of places have it in different countries where loser pays. If you sue somebody and you lose, you have to pay the costs of the other.
I'm curious to see which countries actually have this because I would like to see it put in practice because it does kind of sound like a good idea, but at the same time, I'm not sure how it would how it would be in practice. Like how communism sounds good on paper, but in real life, it doesn't work the same. It doesn't work the same way. So I don't know. I would definitely like to see it put in practice and know what countries do that.
Yeah, that makes sense, I think.
And what happens is people don't sue. It's a tremendous difference. But this country, the lawyers are very much opposed to it in this country. It's too bad.
Yeah, man, it's just pretty heartbreaking, I feel like. There was a rumor that you almost had RFK Jr. as a potential vice president.
No.
Okay. Just a rumor.
Yeah,
and
I like him. I've always liked him. But
I like him too. Bobby and I are friends. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years.
He's a good man.
Yeah.
He's in there pitching. It's tough. It's a two-party system, and he's a third party. It's a tough thing. He can't get registered now in New York. I see New York, and the Democrats have really opposed him vehemently. I haven't, but the Democrats have really opposed him.
So you think he should be allowed to run everywhere?
Well, the laws don't allow that.
Okay.
And the laws don't allow, unless you have 15 or 20%, whatever it is, they don't allow you to debate. You don't have to debate, so you can't get on the stage. You can't. And the debates are very important. I mean, I had a debate with Joe Biden.
Oh, yeah, I saw
that was a very consequential debate, to put it mildly.
Well, yeah, they took the hand out of the...
Dude, I would love to see Vermin Supreme going against a debate against Trump or any of the politicians for that matter. I would definitely vote for Vermin Supreme. That shit would be a once-in-a-lifetime thing to see, dude.
Puppet after that.
Well, they wanted to debate. They gave me everything that I didn't want, CNN, and then they gave me Dana Bash and Jake Tapper. Now, remember this. They were very straight during that debate. I gained a certain respect because Jake Tapper, who I call Fake Tapper, but now I don't do that.
I saw him at Whole Foods.
I don't do that so much anymore. You did.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they were very even-handed, if you want to know the truth, during the debate.
I didn't feel like they the moderate. I didn't feel like they pushed a lot.
No, I think that was good. I think that was definitely good on them. I thought it was going to be pretty one-sided towards the Democrats just because it was on CNN, but they actually, they let both people speak. And honestly, I think they censored Joe more because he was just rambling and spitting out nonsense. But yeah, I feel like I like how they could mute the mics and stuff. That was pretty good. Overall, good on them. I thought it was going to be pretty one-sided, but it ended up not being.
Certain pressure on them to be even-handed. I think it's hard to not do that, but they were very even-handed, and it was a great debate, but a very important debate.
Well, after that, it seemed like suddenly everybody had been like, "Oh, Biden's fine." In America for 18 months. Like my dad was really old when I was born. My dad was 70 when I.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't think anybody thought Biden was fine after that. He was clearly unwell. Or had dementia or something, dude. If you saw the clips, man, he could not speak at all. He was having a 30-second pause between some of his sentences. He was losing track of what he was saying. It was definitely pretty bad. I don't think anybody was fooled.
I was born, right? So I don't like seeing senior citizens take advantage of, right? I felt like that happened a lot when I was a kid. And so I think for me, it reflected on me, it made me really angry because I was like, I know this guy's not well. It's not fair to pretend that he's well. Yeah. It's not fair to him because he doesn't know you're pretending, And it just seemed like the cruelest thing you could do. And then we're all kind of supposed to believe this thing that we know is not real. Our media is just saying this is real. And we're all just being gaslit as humans about something that's like moral. Like this is a human man. This is somebody's grandfather. And then they just disappear. He just disappears. And suddenly it's like
It was a coup.
Kamala is the one that went in. What do you think happened in the back rooms there? Because that almost was overnight that happened.
I know what happened.
Mhm. Yep, and I started seeing ads for Kamala like overnight too. Like at one point, my YouTube feed was just it was just Kamala. It was just Kamala ads, and like that was it. That was the only ads I was getting, and I think that's pretty crazy. Like since it was overnight, like dude, that's kind of crazy. They started pushing her really hard.
You're not supposed to do that. It's not supposed to be probably constitutional. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. All of a sudden, they're telling him to get out, or they threatened him.
But who are
And he
they
is
when
an
they say that?
angry person. Well, I would say Schumer, Pelosi, and numerous other people. The heads of the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Thugs.
And they did. They threatened him violently, I think. And he
You
didn't
think
want to
they
get out.
really
Remember, he said, only God will get me out, right? Only God will get me.
Somebody dressed up like God and just chased him out of
uh,
there.
Yeah, and what happened is they went to him and they said, this was after the debate. Now, if he didn't have the debate, he would still be running.
Yeah. So they set him up. They knew they were going to pull him. That's,
That I don't know. I mean, he had his
I
debate.
feel like that would make
Maybe
sense.
he wanted to. I heard he
Set them
didn't.
up.
I heard they offered me things that I would never accept, and I accepted them. They said CNN. They said Jake Tapper, Dana Bash. They said all things that I could not take, and I accepted all of them. And look, it was a good debate for me. It wasn't a good debate for him. I think he'd still be running right now. You wouldn't have her. She was one of the most disrespected people in the whole country. She was a failed vice president.
Well,
She was the most.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more people that are disrespected in her.
She was considered the worst vice president in the history
I mean,
of the country.
obviously she can't be that disrespected because she has almost like a couple percent. What is it? 5 points? 5 points? Yeah, 5 points of the votes for the United States. So I don't think she could be that hated.
She had no chance. If you go back 6 weeks, they were saying how bad she was, and they wanted to choose from 11 different people.
do you
I
feel
thought that
I think now people are also voting for Kamala because before they were just voting because they didn't like Trump. But I think a lot of the black community and like like other minorities resonate with her since she is a woman of color too. And I think a lot of people would vote for her because she's a woman as well. Not to say there's anything wrong with that, but it's it's just how the world works and how our country works.
that's what they were going to have.
Oh, you thought that's really good? Well, that would have
Well,
seemed more
I don't know.
People want somebody that's relatable is what I'm trying to say.
democratic, I think.
They wanted to be politically correct, and they chose her.
I feel like it would have seemed more. But, dude, I got so angry when they sidetracked Bernie a few years ago.
Yeah.
That wasn't fair.
I like how Theo just calls him dude. Like in the other interviews, they say Mr. President and stuff. Theo calls him Donald and dude. I think that's so funny.
It just,
Happened to Bernie twice.
yeah. He
If
got,
you think about it.
yeah, oh, it was crazy. Yeah, 2016 and 22. He just got, it just wasn't cool. Like, whatever you think,
No.
it's just like, we have to be able to believe
Would
that.
you like Bernie? Are you friends with him or something?
No, I'd met him the other day. I
Was
like,
that the first time?
it was the first time.
Were you impressed by him?
Yeah.
One thing, he's still sharp, right?
Oh, yeah, he's still sharp.
He doesn't suffer from what Biden did.
No.
Mental dullness.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean,
Mentally gone.
Biden is
Mentally
like,
gone.
he's somebody put a merry-go-round in his head, I heard. But that's, but they didn't plug it in. They didn't tell him.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But no, one thing I liked about Bernie, well, one of the things is the healthcare. I just feel like we spend so much money in different places, and
Yeah.
people are sick, and the opioid epidemic. I just feel like, and the lower cost of drugs. Those are things that
And because I got insulin down, and they took credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I got it down to $35.
Oh, there it goes. I was waiting for that. He starts talking about himself. He can't let Bernie have a single can't let him have a single piece of the pie.
And I said, I hope I win because somebody's going to take credit. It takes a period of time before it kicks in, statutorily, and I got it down to $35, which is a very low price. And they took credit for it, which is, now I'm taking credit because I'm talking to you.
Well, yeah, if you did it, then you should be able to take credit for it.
I just watched her performance today. So she went out and
Who, Kamala?
she lied about everything. She said, this Trump tax, that Trump tax, that Trump tax. He's going to tax this. He's going to tax all these different things. And I'm not going to tax them. She made it up.
Did you know that 4 companies control over 80%
Well, it's a sponsor, yeah.
of the U.S. meat industry? And China now controls the largest portion
Matter
of
of
U.S.
fact, I will
pork.
give this video a
These
like.
companies are using
'Cause good on
mobster-like
Theo, bro.
tactics to crush
I like his
American family
interviews.
farms. And with the additives that they're putting into our food, Americans are stuck with sketchy meat. So what can we do about it? Let me tell you about a company that's coming up swinging on behalf of the American family farms and your family's food security. Moink. The business is simple. Moink's meat comes from animals raised outdoors, where a pig is free to be a pig. Hey, buddy. Their farmers are given an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, and they deliver meat straight to your doorstep at prices you can actually afford. So keep American family farms farming by joining the Moink movement today at moinkbox.com/Theo. Sign up today and get free hot rolls in your first order, spelled MOINK, box.com/Theo. Oink, oink, get moinked. Moinkbox.com/Theo. You know what it is, brother and sisters, baby. It's time for those wiener uppers, daddy. You feel me? BlueChew.com, they're helping. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis,
Holy.
and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost in chewable form. Sign up at BlueChew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew wants the entire country rock hard. They told me that that's the mission. They will not stop until every man is bricked up like a brick house. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use promo code Theo at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code THEO to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Look, people in politics, many of them, not all of them, are really liars, but she's really a liar. She made up a series of lots of different taxes that Trump's going to charge you on clothing. He's going to charge you on this or that. And actually, she's the one. Your taxes are going to go up by 4 times. And if the Trump tax cuts, because I got the largest tax cuts ever, but they expire in a number of months, pretty soon, she has to be able to do something about it. And she's unwilling and incapable. I'll tell you what, if she's the worst vice president ever. He's the worst president ever, a deadly combination. And we have
I like how he says, he always says that they're the worst, no matter what.
You look at Israel, you look at Ukraine, you look at all the different things that are happening.
Like, they're obviously not the worst.
She has no clue. And you know
Pretty
what I
bad,
say
though.
about her? Why don't you do it? You know, she complains about everything. She's been there for 3.5 years. Why don't you do it? All you have to do is say, why don't you?
Like, bro, some of our presidents owned slaves before. There's absolutely no way that this guy is the worst.
You do it. Why didn't you fix it? You could fix it right now. Don't, do whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And she won't talk to you, and she won't talk to anybody. She won't be interviewed.
She's welcome to come on. I would love to get to talk to her.
I'm sure she'd be very exciting. Actually, you could make her exciting, probably.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
Somebody said she's a good
I think he
roller
could,
skater.
too.
That's what I heard, which is crazy.
That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, look, we're gonna wrap it up soon. Okay,
Yeah,
is that what you're
please.
saying? Okay, done. Sorry. Speaking of.
Wait, what'd he say?
Soon, okay,
Yeah,
is that what you're
please.
saying? Okay, done. Sorry. Speaking of.
Wait.
It up soon. Okay,
Yeah,
is that what you're
please.
saying? Okay, done.
What'd he say?
Sorry.
I don't know.
Speaking of Kamala and speaking of the border, we had 2 Border Patrol agents that came on in the past 2 years, right? Because we wanted to learn about it from people that are there on the ground. And one of the things that we found out was a lot of times they keep arresting the same people.
He said he has to go. Is he have to take a shit or something? Or has to take a piss? They had to wrap up the interview because Donald had to take a hot, steamy dookie.
Because the people that are coming in illegally aren't being prosecuted. That's one of the biggest problems they were saying. What can we do differently to make things safe at the border? It's the fact that a father can't sleep at night because he doesn't know who's going through his yard or going through it. It's just not fair. It's not what you sign up for when you're an American. What are you going to do differently?
So the borders, well, I did it. We had the best border.
Oh, the wall, they should have kept it. I agree.
We had the wall built. We had more going to come long beyond what I promised.
So always the wall comes back down to the wall.
Miles of wall, and it worked. Walls work. Walls and wheels. I say it all the time. Two things, they never get obsolete. Well, wheels and walls.
Well, they also supplied infrastructure. Like, people don't understand, the wall also was a place where Border Patrol agents could go to get water, to get food, to rest.
That's a good point. I actually didn't even know that they could do that, but that's actually a really good point. I think that Border Patrol should have those type of outposts and stuff, and places they can relax, because then they can do their job better, dude. Like, they can be more productive if they have food, rest, whatever else. So yeah, I actually agree with that part. I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing.
It provided like a shelter out there as well.
It worked.
They're in the middle of nowhere. They said it worked. The two that I've spoken to said it worked.
And I was going to do 200 miles of wall. We had it built, and to the specifications of the Border Patrol. We were going to put it up. And it would take 3 weeks to put it up. That's an additional 200 miles to fill up certain areas that, when you make the wall, then all of a sudden they start coming through other areas. We had it wired, and they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't put it up. And I realized they wanted open borders. Kamala wants open borders. She's going to have open borders. We'll have 50, 60 million people because of them.
Sick.
We have over 20 million people, in my opinion, right now that came into our country. Many come from prisons, jails.
In his opinion, he has no idea.
Many terrorists. Do you know that other countries now, their crime rate is way down because they're sending all their criminals to us?
It's a party.
They're sending all of their criminals to us.
That's the thing that sucks about it, because we do take them in. We take in refugees, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, although it can be bad because it can take our jobs and stuff, whatever. But like, we're also taking in like criminals too. Like, we can't really tell the difference, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know about that.
And who would take this? Why is this a good thing? It's a horrible. She should be ashamed. And she was the border czar too. He put her in charge. She was the worst border czar in the history of the world.
She's a roller skater. That's what somebody told me the other day.
She's terrible.
But what are you going to do? What's going to happen with the border when you're back?
We're going to seal the border, and I had it very well sealed. We had the most successful border in the history of our country. We're going to seal the border. We're going to finish up certain areas of the wall because they didn't do it. And we're going to have an unbelievable border. And we're going to spend a lot of time getting the criminals out. Look, we have murderers in our country now.
I don't think people should be allowed to be in our country if they're criminals.
Well, then you're going to be very unhappy to know that we have a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of murderers. We have people, drug dealers talking about drugs. It's not even believable that they'll do it. So what they've done is they've allowed murderers, people in prisons, people in jails, people in mental institutions and sanitors, and terrorists to pour into our country by the hundreds of thousands. And they are in our country right now. And the country that brought them out said, if you ever come back, we're giving you the death penalty or we're going to kill you.
Well, in Brooklyn alone, there's a huge building that is housing just Haitian people. They're just housing this wandering around Brooklyn all the time. My friends are telling me
they have some rough people too, really rough people.
So if you get reelected to the border, you're going to continue that project.
Well,
we're going to make sure it's safe.
We had the safest border and the best border in the history of our country, and now it's a disaster.
Somebody invited Biden to the border, and they said he went to a Borders Books, dude. And I was like, that's...
Well, they invited her, and she went to a place that doesn't have a problem. She's a disaster. She is the worst vice president. It's the worst administration
Yeah.
in the history of our country. She's a part of it. And she won't do an interview. She would never do an interview like this. She won't
I'd
do an
love for
interview.
yeah, I want to learn more about her.
Well, I think you should ask her to come on.
I would like to see that too.
Tell Baron I said
I think
thanks,
that'd be
man.
pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
He's a big fan.
I hope to get to meet him someday. He seems like a neat kid.
Yeah, he is. He's great.
Is he? Yeah. And yeah, thank you for your time. I can't.
Alright,
believe
that's
that
pretty
I got to
awesome.
Be able to sit down with you. I'm grateful to.
Well, that
to
was
Dana
a good
White as well for
interview.
setting this up. And,
I fully enjoyed that.
and,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they actually did, Trump and Theo. That's a deadly mix. I mean, it was good. It was a good interview.